For the last 4 or 5 years now, my daily driver has been an Audi S5 Convertible, and I love that car. It was fast, it was fun, and for those 3 or 4 days of summer we get in the UK, there was nothing better than driving around with the top down in that thing. So why then did I trade it for this? The 2012 BMW 318 Diesel Touring. And was it a genius move or a huge mistake? In today's video, starting this series on my new daily, I'll show you why I switched, my thoughts on the BMW so far, my plans for the car, and we're going to fix those cloudy headlights and see if we can sneak in a little factory upgrade too. Now, like I said, I loved my Audi S5. It was a 300 odd horsepower supercharged V6, and I think it looked way newer than it actually was. And actually that car came with pretty much every extra you could possibly think of, so it was pretty much the polar opposite of this BMW. But the Audi wasn't without its problems. It had done just shy of 150,000 miles, and it was getting to the point where I was genuinely worried it was going to become a money pit. I was averaging around 16 miles to the gallon, the inlet manifold needed cleaning, and perhaps most worryingly, it was starting to really judder when pulling away or reversing, which is Audi for this is going to hurt. Now, all these issues are things I would have loved to be able to tackle myself, but the truth is, I'm an amateur, I don't really know what I'm doing, and it's my daily driver, so if I couldn't fix the problems on a Sunday, I wasn't going to get to work on a Monday morning. But why then did I choose this? A near enough base model E91 Touring for just shy of 5k. And why might it have been a mistake? Before getting the Audi, I'd never really spend more than 500 to 1500 on a car. I was going through shitboxes like some sort of shitbox junkie, and the Audi was the first car that I'd really bought for myself to be a nice car. And it kind of worked. I kept that car for over 5 years, which when I was averaging a shitbox every 6 months before that, I would consider the Audi purchase something of a success. I love tinkering and fixing things on cars, but the Audi was a little bit too advanced and in honesty, a little bit too nice for me to feel really confident working on it. So I got this. And well, let's say there are a few bits that will give me a chance to get my tinkering fix. The headlights are cloudier than Sussex in October. There's dents, scuffs and cracks all around. The iDrive system, while high spec for an E91, is really showing its age. And these alloys, well, let's just say they need some work. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not aiming at a show car here, but I am looking for something that looks half decent from 10 feet away, and right now, this doesn't. But the base car is actually quite nice. It's a 2012, so literally one of the last E91 Tourings to roll off a forecourt, which I think is why I have this edition trim level. We've got bright oyster leather interior with brushed aluminium trim, not some awful wood like every other BMW I've owned. We've got the typical BMW driving position. Unlike a lot of newer cars I've tested, it feels like you're actually driving this, and I love that. It's got a great service history, and I love the split tailgate and dog guard in the back. What's more, I'm averaging between 35 and 50 miles to the gallon, which is a really refreshing change from being on first name terms with every petrol station attendant in a 10-mile radius. Behind the wheel, I was genuinely shocked by how good this thing feels. I've owned over 27 cars now, and this one surprised me. Pushing less than half the horsepower of the Audi and lacking that all-wheel drive system, I genuinely thought this thing would be sluggish and feel like a boat to drive, and I'm pleased to say I was really wrong. It actually feels quite quick. When I test drove it, I was genuinely surprised. It's responsive, comfortable, it pulls well, and you can chuck it around a corner with confidence. On top of all that, it should be able to tow. I can get my stuff in the back, and I can even fit the dog in the boot when I get the chance to take him out. The only little thing that's been annoying me so far is the placement of this front window switch. I don't know if it's because I sit too far back in the car, but it just feels way too far forward, and every time I try and open the front window, I end up opening the one back there. But if that's all I can complain about, it really isn't that bad of a car. And I don't feel like I've half the power of the car I had before. And ultimately, it's meant to be a daily driver, and I'll be putting that to the test. But before I do, I want to make sure it's the best daily driver it can possibly be, and I'll be doing that on a budget, at home, and all DIY. I've got very little experience, very little knowledge, very few tools, and I don't really know what I'm doing, so this could be a complete disaster and a massive mistake. Now, if you like the thought of seeing me struggle, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you've got some ideas about things I could do to this car, then let me know down in the comments below. In the video today, I'll be showing you how to restore those cloudy headlights, as well as using a plug-in tool to see if we can get any factory extras added to this car. And in the next few videos, I'll be getting my hands on some rattle cans, some filler and some sandpaper, seeing what we can do about those dents and scratches in the car, the cracked bumper, just to get it to a point where it looks good from 10 feet away and hopefully show you the results that a complete amateur can get at home. I also plan to upgrade that dated infotainment system, but these alloys, they're completely covered in scuffs. What I was planning on doing was seeing if I could refurbish them myself from home and show you guys how I do it. But I figured if I'm doing that, I might as well look at upgrading them at the same time and see if we can restore them ourselves. If we can, we'll do the same thing with these wheels and either stick some winter tyres on them or perhaps try and sell them and get some of our money back. Now I'm going to get back to the house and get cracking on these cloudy headlights. And this is something I've done on pretty much every used car I've had, and it instantly makes the car feel a lot fresher. The lights on this BMW desperately need it. And normally for about 15 quid, you can get a kit off Amazon or eBay that will help you do this, and it'll give you all the stuff you need to do the restoration yourself. I picked up this particular Maguire's kit from Halfords and I paid a little bit too much for it. It was nearly £30, but we're going to give that one a go and see what kind of results we can get from this. So with this particular kit, you're given 4 sanding pads starting at around 1800 grit and working up to 3000 before applying a quick polish with a drill attachment. But I was sat there sanding for what felt like a lifetime and this yellowy residue would just not come off. Now this was meant to be a very quick and easy fix that I could kind of tag on to the end of the first video about this car. It turned out to be a lot more complicated than I expected. Off camera, I went away and I did the other headlight and it's come up great. I'm not going to show it just yet. I'm going to show you the process first, but it is definitely doable. And for 99% of cases, the little kits you can buy at Halfords or Amazon or link down in the description below will work. So I've switched the camera around now. I'm just going to talk you through on this worst of the 2 headlights what's actually happened. So I don't know if you can see, but there's this quite clear line along here where it is a lot cloudier and a lot foggier. Now, this is the first one I attempted, so there are some scratches on it as well where I've been trying to sand it, but you can actually feel that material. And what it is that the headlight itself has been, I reckon, restored once in the past, and the previous owner, or the person who did the restoration, has then sprayed lacquer over the top, which in some respects is a great idea, but it's not wear and tear that causes these to fade or go yellow like this one has. It's UV, it's the sun. So without treating it, you are going to get the haziness coming back. Even if you do treat it after a year or so, you'll probably have to do it again, but it'd be a very easy, quick job rather than a long, time-consuming one like we're facing today. So what I've got to do now, we're starting at 800 grit, and I'm going to try and get all of this lacquer off first. What we should hopefully see is that the light fades up quite considerably through each step, but actually comes out whiter and cleaner at the end of it. And just as a final reminder, this is the before. As you can see on there, very cloudy and very yellow. And in a moment, you should see the after. So we've started here just by very simply masking around the headlight. Because I've already done this once, I've got my sandpapers lined up here. This is the first one I started with. So this is an 800 to 1000 grit, a 1 to 1200, a 1500, a 2000, a 26 and a 3000. The reason I've cut these corners off is because they did have the grits written on the back of them, and as you use them and you get them wet, it starts to wear off and you're not entirely sure what you've got. I've got some microfiber cloths just to work through, a squirty bottle just to spray the water onto the light. So back at the light now, what we want to do is start with our squirter, and we want to just get the headlight a little bit damp. First run with the 800 grit, and what I'm going to be doing is a sideways sanding motion on this. I want to try and keep it in a single direction, because when we come along with the next piece of sandpaper, we're going to go the opposite. So the idea is we're creating scratches effectively going left to right on this one, and then with the higher grit sandpaper where we're smoothing it out, we're actually then trying to undo those scratches by going the other way. Okay, so at this point I've only been sanding for a couple of seconds, but you can already start to see this sort of cloudiness that's coming across the light. And at the moment, that is the lacquer that we're starting to hit. And we need to get through that to end up sort of sanding down the lens of the light before we can really restore it. Well, I said it looked worse before it looks better. I've been sanding away at this with the 800 to 1000 grit for about 45 minutes now, because there is so much lacquery stuff on here, and you can still feel it with your fingers, so you know you've not got through it yet. And what I'm going to have to do is just keep going at that, and then once I've got that all down, we want this kind of uniform haziness over the whole headlight before moving on to the next step. So I'm going to finish that off. Fortunately, the next stage should be a lot easier, because what we're doing is then refining this sand. So we're going to be trying to smooth out these scratches we created with this sand, smooth out the scratches from the next one, so on and so forth, up to the highest grit. Okay, so we've gone over with the 1200 grit. So you can see obviously it's very uniform now, haziness to the light. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. The first bit took over an hour to actually get the thick lacquer and everything off the light. That second stage is about 10 minutes. And that gives you an idea of what it would take for a normal headlight. You are looking around about 10-15 minutes a step. It's only because these ones were so bad that they've taken so long in the first place, but hopefully we should still get a pretty good result. I've just gone over it with the 2000 grit. So you can see here now we've got this, it's still very hazy, which is great. That's exactly what we're looking for. It's less obvious where those bits of lacquer were, but it's definitely an improvement. I think this is going to come up okay. So what I did this time was go sideways. So I went up and down the last one, sideways on this one, go up and down again on the next one. So we're constantly changing the direction of the sanding. If you've got a machine, a polisher, that kind of thing, you'll get this done so much faster. But to give you an idea, that last step took 5 minutes, and that's really what you'd expect. 5 minutes on each sanding step, polish, and then you're done. It is purely that this one was so bad and so heavily lacquered that it's taken so much longer. Okay, so we've gone up to 3000 grit on this headlight, and what we've got now is this very fine haze that you can't see many, if any, scratches in the area where we sanded. It gives you a bit of an idea of kind of where you would be expecting to see it right now. So the last step here is to clean it, and then we're going to apply a polish and then a UV protectant to the light. And the idea of that is that the polish should bring up the shine, and then the UV protection should stop it from going hazy too quickly again. Just to talk through what I've used today. So the sanding pads, I've linked down in the description below. It is an affiliate link, so if you choose to buy the set I had, I do get a small kickback, but it doesn't affect the price you pay. Any sanding, wet and dry sandpaper, sanding pads, whatever you can get your hands on will do the job. The only reason you should ever have to go down as low as 800 like I have is because of this other material that was on the headlights. That's not normal. It's not normally the case. I have also linked the Meguiar's headlight restoration kit down there. That for 99% of people will work absolutely fine. I think it's just a situation that these lights were so bad that it just wasn't touching them. And the other thing I'm using today, this T-cut headlight restoration kit, again from Amazon. I'll link it down below. You can use this for the machine or you can hand polish it on. There's two parts to this treatment. So you start with the headlight polishing compound. What we'll do is get that on a microfiber cloth, rub it into the lamp until we get it nice and clear. And then a protectant step is this like headlight sealant here. And this basically helps seal it against UV. Should mean it still takes a long time before you have to do this again. Right, so I've got my polishing compound here. And what I'm going to do is put a few big blobs on the lights there. Got a clean microfiber towel. And in a circular motion, what I'm doing is just rubbing that into the headlamp. You should really mask the light off so you don't get this on your paintwork. Unfortunately, I have run out of masking paper and I couldn't be bothered to drive over to Halfords yet again. And with the Meguiar's kit that came earlier, I actually had this drill bit attachment with a polishing mitt on the end of it. Thought I'd chuck that on there and speed things up a little bit. That headlight is looking a lot clearer. The final step here is the headlight treatment or sealant. All you do is basically shake this up, apply it to a clean microfiber cloth, apply in a circular motion around the headlight, and then get another clean dry cloth and just wipe it off. This gives you an idea of the kind of results you can get on a budget. I mean, as I say, the sanding pads I think cost less than a tenner, but realistically for sub 30 quid you can get your headlights looking a million times better than they were. And if you started with those cloudy headlights like this, to transform it into something like this in what would normally take you about half an hour, I think is a brilliant result. I feel like I'm on a bit of a roll now, and I'm going to try and do some upgrades to the car from inside using this little thing and an app on my phone. So to get started, all you've got to do is find the OBD port on your car. Now for the 3 Series, it's just down here in the footwell. We've got this little cover here, which if I pull it off, what I'm going to do next is take the device and plug it in. So I fired up the OBD11 app here and we've got the device plugged into the car. I'm going to hit on connect. Now this will take a couple of moments, so I might just skip through until it's connected to the car. Okay, so now we're connected to the car. I'm going to tap to scan and it will actually just tell me if there's any fault codes on the car. So it's going to work its way through all of the different modules in the vehicle and scan them each for any issues. Now I do actually have a dedicated code reader for this, which I can plug in and gives you sort of more advanced reading, but this is still pretty good. So we've actually found 8 faults. So if we jump on there and take a look at these, we've got an issue showing up with a particulate filter system, and that's an active fault. I'm waiting on an answer from the dealership about getting that fixed under warranty, but it gives you a bit of an idea. We've had some issues with the SOS system in the car. I've never plugged this in before, so what I'm going to do is start by clearing all of the issues, and then we can take another look and see what comes back. But all in, it seems to be a pretty healthy car, which is great news, because that particular system, filter system's popped back up. You can then obviously jump on and actually look at these issues in Google, but again, I'm not saying particularly to use this app or this tool. This is just the one I have, but there's lots of other ones out there. But where I'm more interested now is actually going back to the home screen. And if we jump onto this apps section here, we can start to see some other options in terms of what we can do. So we can run some tests. So for argument's sake, reset service indicators here, how many wiping cycles to do after washing, tail light testing and headlight testing, gauge sweep testing, passenger window initialization, and all that sort of stuff. There's loads of things we can do. But what I want to do is see if there's any upgrades that we can make to this car while we're in here. So what I've done here is added 10 credits to the account, and what I'm going to do is activate the DRL checkbox in the multimedia system. So I'm going to select that option, activate, and I can see the screens and things adjusting and doing their own thing. And it says it's activated. Let's scroll down to settings. Let's go to lights. Daytime driving lights, turn that on. The lights are off on the car. I'll start the car up and see if we've got DRLs on. And we do not. That's a bit of a waste of time. So after that, I did try to activate the digital speed display in the dashboard, and that worked straight away. So I'm not sure what was wrong with the DRL option. So was my trade a huge mistake? I honestly don't think so. This thing drives great, it's cheap to run, and it has loads of space. It's exactly what a daily driver should be. And we've already smartened it up a fair bit. But what do you think? Would you have kept and worked on the Audi, or did I make the right choice by going for something a little safer? Stick around and subscribe if you want to see my progress on this car, reviews of other cheap dailies and cool cars, and later down the line finding a cheap car to trade up to something really, really interesting. In the next episode, I'll either be modernising the car by upgrading that tired head unit, or I'll be outside working on the dents. But like everything in the UK, it depends on the weather. I'll see you next week.